Okay, I'm going to start now, and we're going to see.
I think you
Hello,
should.
everyone. Welcome to Five Out, a Ball Knowers podcast, episode 20 of the Five
20,
Out
man.
podcast. My name is Graham Dinas. I'm going to be running the point today. I'm being joined once again by my co-host Austin Harrelson, and we have a show for you
Lots
today.
of lots of football. Lots of football, man.
That's
It's a,
yeah,
it's
it's
a
that
big
time of
weekend
year.
for football. Really.
Yeah, well, especially in the NFL. I mean,
Yeah.
with college football being played Thursday and Friday. But before we get into any of that, just reminders off the top as always. Link in the description to visit fiveoutpod.com. Uh, all our socials are linked down below, and then make sure to subscribe to the YouTube page because that's where all the podcasts are going. But yeah, I think Brendan will be joining us hopefully shortly.
Yeah.
We
We'll see
shall
him in a
see.
sec.
Um,
It's a little bit
but
early
let's
for
just
him
yeah
over
on the
there on the
West
West Coast.
Coast. But let's just go ahead and get into the college football playoff. I want to start with the game last night between Indiana and Oregon, which was supposed to be the pseudo national championship game. And Indiana, I said this to you as we were doing prep. Indiana won this game on the first play.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
as soon like Oregon gets the ball and Dante Moore throws a pick six to his receiver. I don't know who the intended receiver was, like which player it was, but
It doesn't matter.
he was running a 5 yard out route, and Pons was playing. He had outside leverage, and
I
he
don't
just
know what the
jumped it.
read
It was
was.
might be the
Like
worst read.
we're sitting there and like and mind you, every bar in the state of Indiana yesterday was packed to the absolute brim with people. Like it's insane. And plus, I mean, you look at the stands during the game, it's all red. Like this
Oh
place
yeah,
was flooded with Indiana fans. And once that first play, I mean, first off, what is the read? Where's Dante Moore's head at when he's, you know, thinking about, okay, you know what, first play of the game, we're gonna go far side. Okay. You're looking on the far side of the field anyways, and it's just a 5 yard out. Like I I don't I don't get the read there. And yet, like you said, once that happened, pick six, it just was spelled to ass the absolute rest of the way. I mean, it was pretty unbelievable.
there's just something to be said about how effective this Indiana team is at just turning the lights out because I felt like yeah, like I'm looking at the drive sheet. Oregon went down and answered like immediately. They got the ball back. They went down and scored, and then Indiana went down and scored again. And from that point on, it was truly over. They just kind of opened it up. Um,
Yeah. No, it was like, I don't even really know how to explain it, dude, because first off, we were one of the guys that I was with, he, and when we went out to the bar, right, we expected, hey, we'll get a couple buckets of beer, right? We'll get a couple buckets and we'll just drink a few, go home. Okay. Nothing too crazy. We got a pizza too, man. It was electric until Indiana scored. And then um one of the guys there was like, "Oh my gosh, let's do shots." And we're like, "Hey, let's not do that.
sounds
What are
like an
we
awful idea.
doing?" And he was like, "Okay, well, for the rest of the game, we're gonna do shots for every time Indiana scores." And we're like, so yeah, by halftime, you could take a
Yeah.
crazy guess on where the vibes were then. We
Mm-hmm.
stopped at halftime. I don't think
Smart.
we were all like, listen, we cannot do this anymore. And we would have had we would
Eight,
have had
right?
we would have had three more after halftime, dude.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here if I kept doing it after halftime. But no, I mean it was and a lot of people were saying like, especially after the Ole Miss Miami game, which we'll get to in a second, a lot of people are saying that's, the quote unquote national championship, right? Oregon and Indiana, they're the two best teams left. no shot. If that's what the national championship looked like, I'm I'm a little bit worried about Miami, and what'll happen, which I know we're not going to dive too deep into it this week, but I mean, what an absolute beatdown from
Yeah,
Indiana.
I mean, it's clinical is the word that I would use, right? Like
Yeah,
it's they. I mean, Mendoza. If you look at the stat line, 17 to 20 for 177 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. Like that's just uber efficient. I don't even know who to compare that to.
no, I mean, there's like, this is such a unique team, right? And I think, kind of when I think of dominant teams, I think of, early 2010s Bama, right?
Hmm.
Or, mid 2010s Ohio State. I think of those squads. Those are the two that come to mind. Those were the teams that we were watching when we were kids. And this team, like they have that kind of dominance, but it's in a completely different way. Like
It's a
they're
very
not
understated way.
they're not getting 5 stars. And I think that this all goes back to Kurt Signetti. I think it all circles
What a
back.
psycho.
I mean, dude, I mean, we could just give our props to Kurt. I mean, what a turnaround for Indiana football. And I think we brought it up last week too, kind of what, like, how incredible it really is. Because, I mean, he's going from JMU to Indiana, getting his first, oh my gosh, it's just absolutely unbelievable. And but he's not doing it with any crazy 5 stars. He has no 5 stars, a handful of 4 stars. Like this is this is just such good coaching and finding diamonds in the rough.
And it's all vet. It's like vets. It's hard to do that, like hard to use that terminology with college football. But in
Right.
today's transfer portal era, with
Yeah.
the extended eligibility, they don't have a single starter that's 20. That's like 20 or 19. Like all their starters are upperclassmen. They they came in as they're essentially mercenaries, and they like are paid guns. They do their job, and they've
Yep.
executed to perfection 15 times this year, and they have one more.
I think last year Rick Pitino, I think he had a really interesting quote about the transfer portal, and he was like, I'm just not going to recruit high schoolers. It's like I'm just not gonna. There's no reason for me to go out and get a high school kid whenever I can go look at the transfer portal and you see uber talent everywhere leaving. It's like he's got a point. Like there's no reason to be like putting as much effort into high school recruiting rather than, hey, we can go out there and get talent right now, especially these, the teams like Indiana and Miami who've made the national championship. They're making a stupid amount of money right now, just making the game. And so you're making all that money, and it's like you're going to put it back into the program anyways. You might as well just throw it in the transfer portal. And so, that's kind of what Indiana's been, right? They took Fernando Mendoza from Cal, last year, and I mean, it's just it's the new wave of college football is, it's going to be less focused on high school recruiting. And it's going to be more focused on the transfer portal.
Yeah, that's just the era of college sports we're in. And back to that point that Rick Pitino was making, it's all about what's the upside of bringing in a freshman that is going to have to sit and wait for 3 years to play whenever you can bring in someone who's going to be ready in 3 years anyway, who has
Right.
been playing. That's kind
Right.
of, I feel like, the mindset that has been around in college baseball
Hmm.
forever, right? I feel like you see a lot more talent at the JUCO level in college baseball
Yeah.
because kids need to play to get reps, and that's kind of their avenue to do so. And
Yeah.
then once they leave the JUCO level, they go and they play at a D1 or a 4 year school. And
Right.
so I think there's going to be a shift of some kind, right? Aside from your Malachi Tonys and your Jeremiah Smiths and these freshmen that come in and are immediate game changers, freshmen are going to have to commit to group of five schools, FCS schools,
Yeah.
and then work their way up just to, get some playing time on the field. So, I mean, it's
Which that could be good. for the sport. Like, if you really think about it, and especially, I don't know how many times we've talked about, the college football playoff format and what is the right, we do this every week, right?
Hmm.
But if you're now making it to where, hey, you kind of have to work your way up to get to these great programs, I mean, that could make some exciting football, with these
At
lower
every
level
level.
squads. Exactly. And so, and say what you want about NIL, and I think everybody will agree that there's an extent, there's a fine line, right? Where it's like, yeah, we should be paying student athletes, but where is that line? The line hasn't been found yet by the
Hmm.
NCAA. And but that could be a perk of NIL is, hey, teams are gonna put more effort into the transfer portal instead of high school recruiting, giving these lower teams a better chance of landing, high value recruits. And so I like the point that you made there.
And I didn't expect to talk about this today, but back on Monday was the FCS championship, which I watched most of with Illinois State and Montana
Some
State.
great football, man.
Great
I
game.
mean,
And
just
there's
awesome.
a lot of talent in that game. That like Taco Dowler is like a
Yep.
national star now, and the Dylan Lord kid, the receiver from Illinois State, he entered the portal. He's gonna get a Power Five offer. Certainly, I think Illinois should look into bringing in Dylan Lord this year.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think that that's a way that you can incentivize these lower Group of Five FCS schools into being more competitive because a lot of the like talking points against the transfer portal is that it creates this disparity gap in talent and it floods all the talent to the Power Five schools, all the
Yeah.
good schools, and mid majors and Group of Fives, whatever, depending on what sport you're talking about, they don't have a chance to compete. I think
Yeah.
that we could be seeing a pendulum moment potentially if
Maybe.
these Group of Five and mid major schools act accordingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Indiana wins the Peach Bowl. They move on to the title game in Hard Rock Stadium, home of the Miami Hurricanes, who back on Thursday defeated the Ole Miss Rebels 31-27 in the, did I say Fiesta Bowl already?
No.
In the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Um,
Man,
and this game, yeah, just go ahead.
first off, I want to get this out of the way. The Verbo Nick Saban commercial might be one of the worst commercials I've ever seen in my life. I hate
I
it.
think no, see, wrong. I think it's a good commercial, but it's run its course, right? It's been on for 16 months now. We're gonna need a sequel at some point that can match the original because I'm tired of it. Yes,
I,
but
I,
I think it's a good commercial.
yeah,
I
no, so
enjoy it.
I'm done with it, right? Like I'm
Crickens at 3, Austin.
anyways, like looking at, and I think this game was kind of a toss up. Even looking at, Vegas, yeah, I think they had Miami right before game time. I think it was -3.5, which I kind of thought was that's pretty bold.
Yeah, it's
But just the
generous.
way that they beat Ohio State, it kind of felt like that Miami has the recipe to beat Ole Miss, and they did. But first off, give Ole Miss their props. They went out there without their head coach, and they put on an absolute show through 3 games. Absolute show. Trinidad, man. I mean, yeah, he just had his was it was his 6th year
His
that
6 year
he just
waiver was
had.
denied. Yeah.
And you know what? I wouldn't even be like, he has traits of a quarterback that the NFL nowadays really likes, and that is you're mobile and you just don't turn the ball over. If
Hmm.
you're mobile, you don't turn the ball over. NFL teams are going to like you. It doesn't matter, like, you could have these incredible measurables, you could be the most athletic human being of all time. I think the NFL is kind of reverting
Anthony
back.
Richardson.
And right, and I think we're seeing a shift back in the NFL where it's like, okay, we need a guy that can read the field. I don't care if he can run. Yeah, obviously, I think nowadays most quarterbacks are going to be mobile. right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even Brock Purdy. But look at Brock Purdy. He's not the most mobile quarterback. He's just mobile enough, and
Yeah.
he makes the right reads. He doesn't turn the ball over. That's it. He's not 6'5". He's not 230. He's like he honestly he's comparable to me and you, size wise. Like he's not that much bigger than the both of us. And I think Trinidad is going to have a good case, especially, where this quarterback class falls off after Fernando and Dante Moore. He's going to get, I would say he could be a day, I don't want to
He'd be
say
a day
day
two pick.
two. He could,
He'd be a
he
day two
could,
pick.
he
I mean,
could be.
like, I'm gonna tell you. Okay. I'm gonna put you in the shoes of an NFL GM. Let's say you're Matt Ryan. You just brought that up. He is the new president of the Atlanta Falcons as far as football ops go. You're Matt Ryan, and you have a day two pick. Let's say Michael Penix is ruled out for the rest of the year, and you're gonna draft a quarterback on day two. Would you rather have Ty Simpson or Trinidad Chambliss?
I know what I would pick, right? I I I know for I know for a fact who I would pick because man, I'm taking Trinidad. I mean, he he okay, at the end of the day, right? When you look at quarterbacks, another aspect that teams will look at is the ability to step up in a big time game. Trinidad he showed that the past 2 years at Division II level, and then he goes to Ole Miss. He's not even named the starter. Austin Simmons goes down, he steps up, and it's like, holy shit, like this guy is legit. He played, I mean, what a game against Georgia, right? What a game against Miami. He willed that Ole Miss team. Like it felt like Miami really had control in that game. And I mean, Ole Miss they just never stopped fighting, and they almost won the game.
Yeah.
But
I thought they were going to. I thought as they were marching down the field
dude, that's
with
such a
with
and
30 seconds left or whatever, I was like, this is exactly how Miami loses this game.
no, this is like that's what I texted in the group chat is this is the Mario Cristobal special, bro. Is he is gonna, oh my gosh, they're gonna go down the field. Miami, man, Carson Beck just ran it in. Hey, not so fast. Mario
Yeah.
Cristobal is the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, buddy. And until he's not, I'm gonna be every time I watch a Miami football game, there's gonna be a chance that they can lose. Every time.
Hmm.
And that's just, that's what Miami football's been. But, to switch over to um Miami side of things, and they played a sloppy game. It felt like in the second half it was super sloppy. Um, that defense just wasn't, and maybe that's a Trinidad. Maybe that's a Trinidad and the rest of the Ole Miss offense being as electric as they've been all year, right? With Lacey in the backfield, but you ended up winning, playing a really sloppy game. I think that I just don't when I'm looking ahead a little bit, I just don't think Miami has the offense to go out against an Indiana team and put up any sort of points. Like, I just don't think they do.
I all year have felt like I do not hold a firm grasp really on any college football teams. I have felt like trying to talk about it on the podcast all year. I've felt like, I could see this game going either way.
Yeah.
Pretty much every game this year. And yesterday, as I was watching Indiana play, I was like, finally, I have an understanding of the two teams left. I've seen enough of Miami and Indiana. I can put it together. Indiana could beat Miami by 60. Like this could be
Yeah.
a Georgia TCU level title game. I think that's on the table.
And
But
yeah.
I've okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna explain to you. These are my only thoughts that I have remaining about college football this season. Indiana is the textbook definition of a well-oiled machine.
Right.
They don't make mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They execute when they need to execute. They're old and they are talented enough that all the pieces can do their job and they're coached by a maniac. And that
Yes.
is worth about 16 points every game.
Like actually.
And Miami is one of the two most talented rosters in college football.
Wow. Unreal. He's alive.
Brendan Evers,
Morning.
welcome. Welcome to Five Out. Um,
Yes.
Miami is one of the two most talented rosters in college football. I'd say more talented than Indiana.
Yeah.
They dominate up front on the offensive and defensive sides. That is where they win ball games. They are coached and they are quarterbacked by idiots.
Yes.
And
Wow.
those idiots will get in their own way frequently. But the talent that they have up front and in the skill positions on offense is enough to overcome that most of the time. But when that
Yes.
team that makes all these mistakes is going to go up against a team that is much better coached, that never makes mistakes, that's when blowouts happen. So
It
that
could be a rough game.
I feel like
Brendan,
I've
what are
seen
your
the
thoughts?
field as clearly as I ever have, and that's my
Yeah,
takeaway.
no, absolutely.
I texted some people last night. As soon as it was like, I don't know, Indiana went up like 2 scores. I'm like, just give them the trophy now. Like, this is I having seen Miami now play, like Miami Ole Miss was a great football game, but there's like levels. Like
Yeah.
Indiana is playing so much better than both of those teams. Indiana would have won that game by 3 touchdowns at least.
Yeah.
Like the way that team is playing right
Yeah.
now, it's because exactly what you just said, Graham. It's like they're not making mistakes. And part of the way you win these kinds of football games is if the other team starts making mistakes. But Indiana, they're converting basically every kind of third down possible. They're being really efficient on offense. They don't ever put the ball in harm's way. Fernando Mendoza made some really great throws last night. I think it was the touchdown pass to make it 20 or to go from 14 to 21 points.
Yeah.
Was like a crossing route, like kind
Yep.
of just front corner of the end zone. It was incredible. And he has the advantage of he's the faster quarterback too. So if he needs to scramble, like he's just a better athlete out there. So I don't see a world in which the game is super close.
I think there is a world in which, in the last game in the 2000 Disney film Remember the Titans, if you remember, Herman Boone, played by Denzel Washington, is on the sideline, essentially like saying more, like foot on the gas pedal, as they're like dominating this team in the state championship, right? Am I remembering that correctly? It's been a while since I've seen the movie. That's what Kurt Signetti
Yes.
is every night. He's just like, no relax, like foot on the gas pedal until this game is firmly out of reach. And I just want to say, this game last night did for me is it completely vindicated my thoughts about the Illinois football team all year. Because
Oh
when
my
they got beat
gosh.
63-10 in week 4, I thought like sky falling, this is just the worst thing that could have ever happened. But Indiana just essentially did that to Oregon last night as well. And Oregon was much better. Well, people thought Oregon was much better
Yeah.
than Illinois was this year. Maybe they weren't actually that much better. Maybe Illinois was not that dog, right? Maybe Illinois was
You're
okay
just
the whole
wow.
time.
I mean, this is turned
This is some
into
coping
a
right now.
therapy session
It's
for
not. No,
Illini.
no cope.
This is from coping.
No cope. No, that's my takeaway. Is Indiana can do this to anyone. They're going to do it
I
in the
will
national
say-
championship.
Oregon might have played the worst game that they could have possibly played last night.
Yeah.
If you look at the
So,
like-
and
final
it
box
was a
score,
blowout. Like if Oregon doesn't turn the ball over 3 times, and particularly just let it get out of hand immediately because I think they turned it over 2 times in their first 3 possessions.
Yes, the fumble, the like ball slips
fumble
out of
was
Dante
terrible.
Moore's hand. That, I mean, I saw a tweet from I think it was from Barstool immediately after it happened. Like Dante Moore, you are a New York Jet, and it was just that.
Oh
play.
yeah.
I mean, that's quintessential Jet stuff.
That was the next
Hold on.
thing. Like, I think that people were kind of questioning who is going to be the number one overall pick? Which quarterback is going to be the
Hasn't
first
made up.
quarterback taken? Yeah, let's get a look at this play. I mean that.
Whoops. Yeah, I mean that's Jet stuff right there. If I've
I
ever seen
mean that's insane. That is Mark Sanchez level type quarterback play right there, and I'm here for it. Okay, but I think that a lot of people, especially like analysts, you look at mock drafts and looking towards the NFL draft, and I think a lot of people were really they're torn between Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza is a Las Vegas Raider. Like he has just absolutely solidified himself. There's no way Tom Brady isn't looking at this playoff run and saying Fernando Mendoza is just not our guy. There's just no way that's happening. And so, Dante Moore, and which he is undecided still about going back or going to the NFL draft that came out this morning.
Yeah,
I don't know. Those plays though, they feel like New York Jets plays.
Fernando was already the odds-on favorite to be the number one pick, right? And like he had kind of run away with it. He's now sitting at -1,000, and Dante Moore is at +800, and then Trinidad Chambliss at +1,700. Which, could you imagine like the leap that he like from a day 3 guy to the first pick is? I mean, 17-1 isn't still, but yeah, I can't imagine it not being Mendoza at this point. If you watched that football game last night and have
right
thought still about Dante Moore being the number one guy, that's probably. Then again, I watched Justin Fields light up Trevor Lawrence. I believe in the Fiesta Bowl. I don't remember which bowl. Maybe it was.
Oh
the
yeah,
Cotton
buddy.
Bowl. But yeah, I mean, he looked like the best quarterback I'd ever watched in that game, and this
Ohio State Fields, man.
Differently.
Oh
okay,
my gosh, he was so good.
Let's get into the tier list. We're going to be tiering the college football playoff head coaches. I figured this would be an apt time to do this.
Oh man, wait. Can we set some ground rules here? That like
Sure.
we need Austin to like not just flame Mario Cristobal just because he wants to. Like I think Mario Cristobal's coaching so far in the playoff has been great.
I'm still willing to put Cristobal in half. Like I'm still,
Wow.
I'm
Are we
telling you-
basing this on our overall feelings or how they've coached in the playoff?
I'd say let's go like 60-40, right?
I'm basing
There can be some
so like
recency bias.
when I'm looking at these coaches, I'm definitely going to hold some like obviously we're going to hold recency bias, but I'm also going to like we've seen 4 years of Mario Cristobal at Miami, and I mean we saw it literally this year against SMU and Louisville. Like he just I'm going to take that into consideration when I'm ranking these coaches and like kind of there. So if they have coached other teams, I'm going to take that into a little bit of consideration.
All right, let's start
So
with
Austin,
the guy here.
your audio cut out there, and then
There's like a whip
immediately when it
sound.
came back, bam! There was like a banging sound in the background. So that
whip,
Graham and I were both like, "What?"
Okay, so I've sorted these coaches out in the order in which they were eliminated from the playoffs. So, starting with Brent Venables of the Oklahoma Sooners. I'm willing to put Brent in the sneaky ass tier because
I feel like this is the tier built for him.
he has had a couple years now, and this year has been a turnaround year where the defense was obviously like that, and that's his strong suit. He's a defensive head coach. The defense has been inexplicable. Like they were great all year. I think next year serves as kind of a prove it year, right? You have to come back. You have to be a little better next year. And if he isn't, then I think he is ass. But sneaky ass for now, unless there are objections. Sounds like no. Okay, Mike Elko
No,
of Texas
I'm good
A&M.
with that.
Mike Elko.
Okay. Here, my thought. I'm not an insider at all, but I've thought kind of with Mike Elko that he's one of those coaches that's probably a better recruiter than he is coach, and thus I'm going to say sneaky ass as well, because they got absolutely like shut down on offense in a home playoff game. Like, I don't know. I just think that kind of thing can't happen.
Yeah.
And I think they had the benefit this year, particularly with their SEC schedule, of not really having to play the toughest teams. Um, they did go play Notre Dame, so to their credit, they scheduled a little bit hard out of conference. But if I'm not mistaken, they didn't have to play Georgia this year in the regular season or Alabama.
No, they did not.
So I'm going to say sneaky ass as well.
I'm okay with that because I don't have a firm opinion on Mike Elko. What I will say is he has managed, I don't want to say turnaround, but the state of the program whenever Jimbo Fisher left 2 years ago, they hire Mike Elko, and they're back in the playoffs within 2 years at A&M. Like I think it's a good turnaround. Again, a lot of that I think is schedule luck, right? I don't know if they should have got. I don't know. Well, obviously, they have the head-to-head, but
I would be
don't think that
happy.
team
I would
was
be
better
okay with
than Notre
moving him
Dame.
up. I would be okay with moving him up to sneaky not ass.
I would feel more comfortable
Because
making the.
now that you just brought Jimbo Fisher's name back into
Yeah,
into the front of
little
mind.
perspective.
Yeah, it's probably I don't know. It feels like it's been longer than 2 years, right?
Yeah,
Jimbo Fisher seems like a decade ago now, but no, it's 2 years. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
and again, they could fall off a cliff, and then next year, and I'd be willing to put them back into ass. But I don't feel comfortable calling Mike Elko ass at this point in time. Next up, we have Tulane head coach and now Florida head coach, and he did both for about the last month, John Summerall. And I feel like for these group of five guys, I feel like the sneaky not ass territory is just going to have to be where they're at.
Yeah,
I think this is a huge wait and see, right?
I will say, they're all going to be good coaches. Like, I don't think any of JMU or Tulane, right? They're not going to end up in sneaky ass or ass, because in order to even get a Power 5 job, or Power 4 really, from a group of five kind of school, you really have to be a great coach.
Yeah. Summerall, my biggest fear with John Summerall is the last time like Florida did the coaching search, they hired Billy Napier, who was the coach of Louisiana, who played again. He had a couple good years. Summerall's kind of in the same boat, just a couple good years, both coaching at Group of Five schools in the state of Louisiana. So it's not exactly a retread because he hasn't been a Power 4 coach before, but it is kind of it's a similar hire, and we saw how the Billy Napier tenure pinned out. I do feel much more confident in John Summerall's overall enthusiasm for the job already. I feel like he seems like a much more energetic guy than Billy Napier ever did. So I think he has that going for him. But I am curious to see what he does with the Florida program. And then that brings us to Bob Chesney of JMU, who has been brought
Sneaky
on
good.
to be the LSU head coach. I think, okay, I'm willing to do that because we talked about this whenever we talked about these games, how like JMU
Similar thing to A&M in the sense of he had to rebuild a program, not because the program was bad, but because Kurt Signetti took so much talent with him to Indiana.
Yeah.
Like,
And he did it.
the
he did
fact
it in
that 2 years later, he rebuilt that program to being in the playoff themselves, having lost most of the roster the season before to Indiana. Like, and they put up 34 points on Oregon.
Yeah, 51-34.
an Oregon team that doesn't have the worst defense ever. So
They had a top 10 scoring defense in America.
Right.
Yeah.
like I think they ended up. Yeah, well, they definitely scored more points last night than Oregon did on Indiana. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say I would say sneaky good or just good. But you don't know how he's going to perform at the Power Five level.
And UCLA, I feel like, is going to be a much tougher job than Florida, right? Florida, you can step in, instill a culture, and again, you can be back there next year. You can be back there in 2 years, like a lot of these coaches have been. UCLA hasn't been relevant on the national stage at least in 10 years, right? Ever since they had like the Josh Rosen teams, they were like fringe top 25.
Yeah,
But on like a real national level, UCLA is not the same level as Florida. But
there's a lot of drama and problems with that program right now too.
yeah,
They don't even know where they're going to play in like 2 years.
yeah, a lot of question marks there. All right, Ryan Day, head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think we talked about last week that he was exposed as a fraud yet again, and I think that last year was more of a blip on the radar than the prior years, perhaps, which is hard for me to say because I've been a Ryan Day believer pretty much the
Completely
entirety of his
disagree.
tenure. Yeah,
Completely disagree. They're so consistent. Like
they are.
There's-
That's
I would take that kind of consistency over pretty much any head coach. You know what you're getting with Ohio State. You're getting an elite program every time. And the thing is, with like, there's been times, I believe it was the national championship game like 2-3 years ago. There's been times when Ohio State has not been the most talented team. The year that Georgia last won the championship in 2022, I believe.
yes, 20.
I believe it was a semifinal game. Ohio State was definitely the best team that they had to beat.
Yeah, because then they went and they beat TCU by 65 or
A
whatever.
bajillion, yeah. Like the national championship game was really that semifinal. So there has been times when Ohio State has not been the most talented team, and they've still looked incredible or won. But I know you know what you're getting with Ohio State. But Ohio State fans would probably disagree. But be happy with what you've got because not every team can get that much consistency and consistent playoff, consistent top five. That's just, in my opinion, that just goes in sneaky good or good.
I guess. Again, I'm a Ryan Day guy. I have been for the entirety of his tenure. But the last two games he's coached have started, like, for the first time, my confidence is wavering in him as a like elite college football coach. But I'm willing to continue to keep him in good.
Dare I say this year, his quarterback play wasn't as good. Held them
Julian
back a
Sayin
little bit.
was awesome for much of the regular season. Julian Sayin, he was like uber efficient. Again, like we talked about Mendoza,
They
very
got hit with some
similar-
turnovers in the Big Ten championship and then that playoff game.
Yeah, the scout is out. I guess.
It's just a bad time to not have your best game.
Yes,
We'll say that.
twice. Yeah. Okay, Joey McGuire of Texas Tech. I'm thinking maybe sneaky good. Again, like whole body of work. I think sneaky good. Playoff results, obviously. Not quite. What were you gonna say?
I don't know if I'm comfortable putting him that high yet because I don't think he's proven that he's like the like kind of elite college football coach that you would put Dan Lanning or Kurt Signetti in, right? Or Kirby Smart, right? Because they kind of just got there, and it's been pretty public that this was one of the most expensive rosters in college football. So it could be, right? He just got carried by a really, really good quarterback and then a really good defense. Because was it like Jacob Rodriguez was like a Heisman contender?
Yeah, I think he finished fifth in voting.
So they had a great roster. And then at some point, particularly like when you're playing in the Big 12, there's not his main challenge was BYU, right? They played BYU twice. BYU, maybe Utah. ASU was a little down this year, so but it's not like they had, you know, looking to play,
Gauntlet, yeah.
you know, oh, I have to try to travel to Autzen this week. I have to travel to the Shoe. There's really none of that in the Big 12. So I would say sneaky not asked.
Okay, I can live with that. Kalen DeBoer. Your thoughts?
I'm gonna say sneaky ass.
Yeah. Just, I mean, he got exposed bad. I mean, again,
Yeah.
Kurt Signetti will do that to you. We just saw that. We talked about that for a half hour.
I don't want to hate too much on Kalen because Dan Lanning also had the same thing just happen to him with Indiana. Like they just got hit by a freight train. Okay, like that's what happens. But I think overall, like the body of work, everyone would say that it's been disappointing. DeBoer at Alabama, and there's no lack of resources if you're a college football coach at Alabama. So that's why I'm comfortable putting him there.
Yeah. And again, yeah, the fact that you go out, you lose a couple games last year that you should never lose as the Alabama coach. You missed the playoff, and then this year you lose a couple games you should never lose as an Alabama coach. You get in, and then you win one, and then you get exposed in probably the most watched college football game of the year. So
Yeah.
Kirby Smart.
Yeah, he's just good.
Yeah. Probably
I
think
enough said
again,
there, right?
yeah, Signetti is certainly putting his name up there, but Kirby Smart for years has been the best coach in college football. Probably the last.
Can we just make a? Okay, never mind. We'll get to that when we get to it. Let's move on.
Yeah, Pete Golding of Ole Miss. I was very impressed with the job he's done in the playoff. The way that
So far, I'm very
seemed
impressed. He
pretty seamless.
kept the culture and kept everyone engaged. And now that I've seen like kind of how the program has held itself together and not fallen apart with Lane Kiffin leaving. And by the way, the transfer portal closes on like the 19th. I kind of expected yesterday, now that Ole Miss lost, I expected to hear about a whole bunch of Ole Miss players entering the portal. But we didn't really get that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say sneaky good for now, maybe. Maybe that's
I'm willing to
reaching.
do that. He just seems so collected on the sideline. Like, talk about a guy that, I mean, like, steady hand. He did not look panicked in any moment. They had 30 seconds and no timeouts to try and drive against the Miami defense to win a college football playoff game, and he was just like pacing on the sideline like it was the first quarter. That's my biggest takeaway of his. And then again, like you said, it seems like he has kept the culture intact in a very drama-filled locker room. I'd be worried about hiring the interim guy. In general, I feel like that doesn't work out very often. But he seems to be a good fit. And so we'll see how much of it really is him next year.
I don't know. Like, is he an elite coach? Like, can he keep the elite players? Like, he might be fully a coach that can keep them at 9-3.
Yeah.
But is he getting to the playoffs every year?
Who knows? Right?
Like those are the categories for the Ryan Days and Kirby Smarts of the world, right?
And again, but I feel like Ohio State and Georgia is a different tier of program than Ole Miss overall, right? Like, I feel like Ole Miss, the fact that they are happy being a part of the conversation year in, year out. Like, I think that as far as content levels go, that's where Ole Miss is at. Whereas Ohio State, if Ohio State was like playing the way that Alabama currently is, I feel like that whole system would fall apart. Like, Ryan Day just has higher expectations than Lane Kiffin did and now Pete Golding does. But maybe I'm wrong. Okay, Dan Lanning, I think, is an interesting case study because, again, same deal. Like, this is a consistent top 5 program in the sport at this point. But he has gotten his doors blown off in a lot of very meaningful games. And like last year it happened again this year with the Indiana game last night.
Man, that road win at Penn State is doing a lot of heavy lifting for him being a big game coach, right?
His two marquee wins, I guess maybe 2 of his 3 marquee wins as a college football coach are against Penn State, with the Big Ten championship last year, this year's whiteout game at Penn State against a 6-6 team, and then last year they handed Ohio State a loss in Autzen. Those are probably the 3 best wins of the Dan Lanning era.
Yeah.
But in the playoff last year, they get their doors blown off by Ohio State. Like I said, they do go out and they beat Texas Tech pretty dominantly. But
I do want to give him some grace here, because last year's Ohio State team was a freight train, and this year's Indiana team is also a freight train. I think he's good, because I think you can have a really good team and maybe a top 5 team, but there's both of the, like last year and this year, the number 1 team, so Ohio State and Indiana, so much better than everyone else because they just don't make mistakes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Dan Lanning, until further notice, is good. I'm willing to agree with that. Curt Cignetti.
Can we just make a Curt tier at this point?
No, because I think the axiom on which the tiering system is built on is there are really only 2.5 tiers. You can either be good or you can be ass, and then I guess there's a middle tier where you could be not ass but maybe not good. Curt Cignetti is good, like textbook definition of good.
We put Ryan Day in good.
See, Brendan talked me into it. Him and
Brendan.
I'm a Ryan Day believer.
I don't know how.
As a fan of another Big Ten program that would love to have had the losses that Ryan Day's had, man, get that guy. Like, you are consistently top 5. Shut up. Like, that is a good coach. You don't even have to think about missing the playoff every year.
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with Ryan Day. I think that has everything to do with the brand of Ohio State.
You could say that same thing about Alabama.
I would.
And yet, yes,
that's why we have Kalen.
And yet, Kalen DeBoer is not. Like, you do have to do some work, to keep it up, because as with Ole Miss, somebody's ready to take your place if you have a little bit of a letdown year. Like, that's just how it happens.
That's fair. I agree. I'll let you have that one, buddy.
All right,
here we go.
I got him.
Super Mario.
Okay. Genuinely, okay. He's been to Miami, 4 years now, right?
Yeah.
And this Miami program was down since the early 2000s, they've just have not been that great of a program. Like, maybe in the late 2000s, they were still, pretty top tier. I think the NIL is going to change everything for Miami. I think that they've got the donors, they've got the money, and I think that that's something that, like I said earlier, these 2 teams that are in the Natty, man, everything's going to change for them because they got a shit ton of money coming their way. And so, do I think Mario Cristobal is a good coach? The answer is no. Due to the fact that you can say all you want about the big wins, and that's what ESPN will tell you is, look at his record against the big teams, right? And look what he's done against top 25 opponents this year. I don't care. Okay, he's got one of the most talented rosters in the country, and has the past 2 years, especially this year. This is the best team he's had. And you're still losing to teams like you're still losing to SMU. You're still losing to Louisville. And they almost didn't even have an opportunity to play in the playoffs. And in all honesty, they probably didn't deserve it.
They shouldn't
Like,
have,
let's be
yeah.
honest.
Mhm.
And so, and like, yeah, okay, they were given the opportunity and they have absolutely ran with it. And I think that is a testament to Mario Cristobal, right? He's got his guys playing their best football right now. They dominated Ohio State. I wouldn't say dominated. That was a good win against Ohio State, but then they come out flat against Ole Miss, but they still won the game. I would say sneaky ass because I think a lot of people are gonna say, well, Miami's in the Natty right now. Miami's in the Natty. You know, Mario Cristobal's a good coach, and it's the same way I look at Ryan Day. As I just don't think he's that good of a coach. I think the talent is really doing the hard carrying right now for Cristobal in Miami.
I don't. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
willing to set aside the complete and total fraud. s- Speculate. Like, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, but I don't. Maybe Chris Paul isn't a complete and total fraud. Is what I'm trying to say. I still
Yeah,
think he. I'm not willing to say he's an elite coach because this team made the title game. If they win the title, if they beat this Indiana team, I may be willing to change my tune. But
maybe. I think if they take down Indiana, I think that would make me be like, okay, maybe those two games in the regular season, maybe they're just those conference games that just, you know, conference games always cause teams hiccups, right? And we see it every year, especially with like Alabama Auburn, right? With their such a big rivalry there. Um, but maybe it is just a hiccup. I just, I just don't. They
I will
we
never.
go back to Indiana, and it's like, they don't have as talented of a team as Miami. Like, you want to, from top to bottom, they just don't, right? But they have a team that goes out there and absolutely executes every single thing. Like, they do everything to perfection. And
Yeah.
that is coaching. That is not, hey, oh, we've got these 5 stars, we've got this guy, we've got no, that is coaching. And I think that's the difference that a really good coach can make. And we saw it with Nick Saban because yeah, he's got all the 5 stars. You saw the difference, and we're seeing the difference right now from Nick Saban Alabama football to DeBoer Alabama football. And I think that if Mario Cristobal was a better coach, I think he would have this Miami team playing even to what Indiana is doing. But he's just not. He's not a good enough coach
Yeah, it's
to
it.
advance his
There's
team.
there's the difference of like the high end 5 stars, and then the guys that are like just good athletes, good players, but maybe not. There's not as highly sought after. Like
Yeah,
that's Indiana's roster is the second.
yeah,
There's that second tier, but then they are bought in to what their job is, and you see they're like all cheering for each other's successes because it's not about them. It's about the team. And so a good coach can take a whole bunch of different personalities and make them meld into one personality of we need to do whatever it takes for the team.
yeah.
So I totally agree. Um, and I think Mario Cristobal is maybe getting carried right now by his high end talent. Really,
Yeah.
that defense right now has some just absolute creatures. Like Francis Mauigoa, like good luck. I don't know how anyone ever blocks that guy.
Well, I think that's and it just blows my mind because I mean, I have seen Mario Cristobal lose some we have seen him lose games in the most horrific fashion. And I
He
watch
is.
Bears football,
He's
like
in
like
my
we've
mind.
we've seen it.
In my mind, I'm never going to shake the game from 2 years ago
The
where
Georgia
they were
Tech
playing
game.
Georgia Tech. All they had to do was knee it out, and they would win the game. and they ran the ball, they fumbled the ball, turned it over, and Georgia Tech went down and scored and won. He could win the next 6 national championships, and I would still have that game at the first. That would be the first thing that would come to my mind when I hear the name Mario Cristobal, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why I'm so out on him. Like, that is textbook poor game management. He could be carried by whatever roster he wants. That moment will always live in my head, and I don't feel as if he's really learned from it either. Right?
No,
Like, I still
that
I don't get the sense that he's changed as a coach since then.
that's my thing is like, has he changed
And
from
that kind
those
of game
games?
kept him out of the playoffs last year. Like,
Yeah, like those are the games where, like, oh my gosh, and it's so frustrating. Like, losing to Syracuse last year, that offense was absolutely electric last year. I mean, that that is one of the more underrated offenses in the past 5 years in college football. And they didn't even get a chance to go out there and, you know, play in you know, in the playoffs because you're losing to Kyle McCord in Syracuse. Their head coach just got the can after 1 year. Like, I I like Mario Cristobal is so bad against ACC opponents, and I don't understand. You go out and you beat Ohio State. You go out and you beat Ole Miss. They've beat 2 SEC teams, and arguably the most. I mean, they're playing arguably. Well, I say arguably because IU is now the best Big Ten team, but Ohio State was incredible all season. You're
Yeah.
beating 2 SEC teams. You're beating a top 2 Big Ten school, but you're losing to fucking Louisville and SMU. Like, what are we like? That is a coaching issue. That is a
He
coaching
maybe
issue.
maybe Miami needs to join the SEC.
Maybe
Right? Maybe every game needs to be a big game for Mario Cristobal to be a good coach. Maybe that's what
you
it
know
is.
I will give him his props in that area specifically. Is that Miami team
that's a tough
has
thing to
shown
do,
up?
too.
Yeah, like
3 weeks in a row. Yeah,
they've been the underdog in every game except against
this
Ole
last week. Yeah.
Miss. But they've been seeding wise, at least they've been the underdog in every game this year or in the playoffs. And so I just think he's such a weird. I think the way that he, like, especially on offense, right? And I know that you're limited with Carson Beck, but the way that Miami, just like how their offense is, and we saw it against Ole Miss, right? I mean, the time of possession, the way that they beat down on Ole Miss's defense, I mean, it's like you got so many playmakers. You don't have to play that kind of football. It's like y- that offense is filled with playmakers, and you're playing possession football. Like, you're much more talented. Not much more. You're more talented than Ole Miss.
They almost they seemed almost like, aside from like the touchdown that happened, they almost didn't really want to try to force it down the field at all.
No, Carson Beck had what? I think it was 3 passes past the line of scrimmage before that last drive in the second half. I mean, yeah, obviously get the ball to your playmakers. That's the move, right? When you're running screenplays, you're getting the ball into Malachi Tony's hands, but then you're just not utilizing anything downfield. And you're going up against the Ole Miss defense. Their front seven I mean, they've got a great front seven, but their weakness is in the secondary. And they just didn't, it just felt like they weren't trying to go
To
at
be
their
fair,
secondary.
their run game was kind of running it down their throats still. Like,
Yeah,
it was still like 6 yards of carry.
which I guess against a high-powered offense, I guess I understand, the time of possession game, but you have a top 2 defense in college football. And that's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it
Yeah.
at this point, right? I think Indiana has the best defense in the sport, but then there's Miami, like, and I don't know, and I don't know if we're going to touch up on the championship game or not, but or if you guys already have. I was driving
We'll
home,
save it.
but
We'll save it for next week.
I just think, like, there is a recipe for Miami to win, but will they do it? Absolutely 1000% not. No shot. No shot in the world. But yeah,
Could
Mario
you
Cristobal
imagine
is sneaky ass.
the last the last point that I want to make about this Miami team before we move on? Could you imagine what this year's Miami team would look like if they were quarterbacked by Cam Ward instead of
Oh my
Carson Beck?
gosh. I think that they would have won the ACC. They would have won the ACC. I mean, oh my gosh, dude. You don't even realize, and I don't think people really understand how much better Cam Ward is than Carson Beck. Like I don't think people understand
Streets.
how good
Do you
Cam
bel
Ward
do you blame
was
Mario
last year.
Cristobal? Do you blame Mario Cristobal though for recruiting Carson Beck? Like
No.
I don't at
Like
all.
who else? Who
Dan,
else are going to go out and get right?
no,
Like
and I think that this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about earlier with, how recruiting has changed. And I think that Miami's going to be just like Indiana. They're going to be one of those teams. They're just going to pull quarterbacks from the transfer portal because there's no reason to bring in a freshman anymore. There's no reason. There's no upside into bringing in a yeah, especially if you're a championship contender. Like they're just going to target the transfer portal year in and year out. Sam Levitt is going to visit Miami, right? And I think that's where he's going to end up because they're going to say, hey, look at Cam Ward. He began the number one pick after coming here. Hey, look at Carson Beck. He's going to get drafted somehow. And Sam Levitt's going to say, okay, I'll come to Miami. But I don't blame him because Carson Beck's been in the big games. Like he's been there. I mean, he played which I don't think Carson Beck didn't win any as a starting quarterback,
no, it
I
was Stetson
believe.
both times.
Yeah, it was Stetson. But I mean, he's played in those big games. He was the best quarterback on the market as a transfer, you know. I guess Fernando Mendoza was, but I don't blame him for bringing in
Going into
Carson
the
Beck, but
yeah.
because I think Carson Beck can play in the right system, and I just don't think the system in Miami is the right one. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. Just get the ball in Malachi Tony's hands,
Yep.
and it's absolutely electric.
So that's our tier list of the
Man, Mario
college football
Cristobal
playoff
was
tournament.
controversial for us, despite us agreeing.
Yeah, we
We just
had
had a
some
lot to say.
disagreements. Yeah, and
I,
that's what he
I
does.
think that there is a lot to say about it because I think a lot of people. I think there is this notion that well, I think Mario Cristobal, he is a good coach. I mean, look at him in the big games, and that's just not the case. It's just not the case at all, and I'm not going to let people believe that.
There are so many coaches that are the exact opposite of
Yeah,
Mario Cristobal, where they're good coaches, except for when they play the big game.
James
Then the
Franklin,
lights are too bright.
textbook
You
James
know,
Franklin.
yeah.
well, that's what and
Matt
I think a lot of
Rule,
people
like,
were
I love the guy, but
that
we
was
haven't
kind
won
of
a top 25 game yet. So,
Kurt Signetti last year. That was Indiana. They beat everybody except winning in the big time games. And then
yeah.
I don't think Mario Cristobal is going to have a Kurt Signetti turnaround, but I think he saved his job for the next 2 years
Yeah.
by doing this. So, oh well.
All right, we are going to skip over college basketball. Brief points. Again, 5outpod.com for new bracketology. Austin said he's going to upload that tonight.
Yes,
The
that will
bracket
be
is
updated
done.
tonight.
Big Nebraska ball game today. Brendan, you guys are at Assembly Hall, right?
I'm a little nervous.
Indiana's
About that
good.
one.
I think I've got my bracket pulled up. I've got Indiana as an 8 seed right now. Nebraska's still a 3.
Yeah, that one super tough place to play a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And any team that is an elite 3-point shooting team scares me.
Yeah.
I'll just say that because Nebraska's defense is basically force you to try to pass it a whole bunch of times, and you'll eventually turn it over. But they do have to give up some threes. Now, some of them are contested, but they do give up their share of wide open looks, which is how Illinois
Got back
had
in
a
it.
lot of their offense. That's how they came back.
That That game stunk. Bryce Sanford, that kid can shoot it. And
Yeah.
Illinois had a lot of guys go off on them this year. Like Bruce Thornton went for
Funny
about
enough,
40.
Bryce Sanford did that shit last year whenever Nebraska played at Iowa.
Yeah.
It was like one of those where he was on a heater and he couldn't stop making shots. And it was like, we were right there. How do you shoot it over a guy who's like 6 inches from the ball? And it's like, yeah, that still went in.
We had that last year in the Big Ten tournament. Our first game, we played Iowa, and I think it was Peyton Sanford and I think Josh Dix. Both of them went just nuclear in that game. I think both teams were in the hundreds, and it was like a regulation game. Just unreal shot making. But yeah,
Average Fran McCaffrey kind of game. Shoot the ball a bajillion times.
Illinois
Yes,
goes to
big
Iowa
big
City.
Nebraska ball game. I'm excited about that.
Illinois goes to Iowa City as well on Sunday, I guess morning. They play at 11. They're the precursor to the Philly San Francisco game on Fox.
I've seen a lot of discourse about Iowa this year too. Of they were in the top 25, but they don't really have a great tournament resume.
No, I have them as a 9 seed. They just dropped the road game to Minnesota, who
Which is not good.
Minnesota was seemingly bad, but they were 3-1 prior to last night in the Big Ten. Right, they beat Indiana as well in the barn, and then they took USC to overtime last night. So they've turned a corner. They're Minnesota, sneaky not ass. Minnesota basketball in year 1 under Nico Medved. But yeah, that'll do it for Big Ten talk. Let's talk about the NFL, starting with Black Monday, and then we can get into the playoff games to finish it off. So I'm just going to roll through all the coaches that got fired. You guys tell me your thoughts. Obviously, the Titans and Giants jobs have been open for some time now.
Yeah.
The first coach to lose their job was Raheem Morris. He lost his job, I felt like during the Sunday night football game. Like immediately after the game
Yeah.
ended, they were like, we're canning you. And then the next day, they're like, hey, we're going to fire the GM too.
Which is good.
But yeah.
Like I think that's a good move for Atlanta. I think now, and I think that this is going to go for a lot of these coaches that are talked about is listen, you see what, Los Angeles has done with Sean McVay. You see what the Bears are doing with Ben Johnson. You're seeing all these younger guys, offensive mind come out, and they are just absolutely dominating the NFL right now. Like they have a firm grasp on the NFL, and I think you're going to see guys like Clint Kubiak in Seattle. You're going to see guys like that kind of. I think teams are going to can their coaches, even though like the Falcons, they didn't end up having that like a horrendous season, right? They were.
They went 8-9. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, not that bad.
But I think
they
that
won
there's
their
a new
last 4,
standard.
right?
Yeah, they won 4 in a row to end the season. And I think a lot of people thought, that's going to keep Raheem Morris. No. And, I think that there is a new wave of head
I
coaches
just think
in the NFL.
they expected more. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have so much
And-
talent on that roster. Like that's one of the obviously.
Oh, it's a super talented team, which they lost
talk about-
Penix. So,
We'll talk about Baltimore when we get there, but I would say that if I was probably John Harbaugh and I have my pick of the litter of any of these teams, I think my first choice, aside from Baltimore for him, would be Atlanta, just because of all the talent you have.
yeah. Yeah, Drake London. Offensively, that team's kind of fun when you look at the skill position and then you look at quarterback and it's like, wow, this actually kind of sucks.
They were supposed to be. I felt like them and Tampa were kind of co-favorites
Yeah.
in the NFC South to start the year, just because of all the talent they have. Let's see. I have the list of interview requests, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily the best way to look at it. So I pulled up. I think this is probably Polymarket odds. I'm not sure, but co-sharing leader odds to be the next Falcons head coach: Kevin Stefanski and Clint Kubiak, which are both, I think, would be tremendous hires.
I think
I'm a Stefanski guy. I think he's.
I don't know what you do. Like, do you take a chance on the young head coach in Clint Kubiak? I think Clint Kubiak is absolutely awesome. I thought he was awesome in New Orleans last year. I think he kind of got shafted because I mean, that offense looked electric with Derek Carr and, Rashid Shaheed the first 2 weeks of the season, and then everybody just got injured. And so, um, yeah, but I think you take a chance on Clint Kubiak.
Yeah.
I'm all for it, especially, maybe I'm just biased because
Is Atlanta the team
that-
that needs to take the chance, though?
I mean, like when you
That
have
feels like a kind of move that the Titans need to make.
well, I think if you're looking at it from Clint Kubiak's point of view, I keep bringing up the Bears, but you look at Ben Johnson going to Chicago, and already a super uber talented team. They've got the pieces there. They just need the coach. I think Atlanta is in the same exact spot. I think they've got the pieces there. You just need the coach that unlocks everything. And is Stefanski the guy, or like an experienced head coach, or is it like you take a chance on the young guy? And I think that if I was Clint Kubiak looking at all of these options, I would say, I think I'd really like Atlanta, you know? And so, or Baltimore, I guess, which, you said you get to that, but
Yeah.
I
The next
think you
job
take a
that came
chance on the
open-
young guy.
The next job that came open was the Cleveland Browns, who fired Stefanski. I think in a move that a lot of people expected, but I don't know if the majority of people would agree with. Because I feel like overall, the body of work that Stefanski's achieved in Cleveland has been fairly strong, right?
Yeah.
Like they've made the playoffs twice. He's certainly the
Coach
best
of the year
coach they've
twice.
had in recent history.
Yep.
The odds-on favorite for their job is also Clint Kubiak, but this one appears to be pretty wide open. Like Flores is being looked at, Chris Shula, Kingsbury, all these names are being thrown out. There's not a good read on who the guy is yet for Cleveland.
I think I really think what it went wrong there is like it's the two straight losing seasons, right, for the Browns. But this year, I would
though, that's not like,
I
what
would
were the
say like
expectations?
what were they expecting? Yeah, like
I thought they would be like supposed to be the first pick, looking at like all the issues that they had with their quarterback situation going into the year, and then you one by one, all those guys just got picked off until you're left with Shadur Sanders, who, if you're the next head coach, you're going to have a decision to make because you can either take a shot on the glimpses that you got of Shadur Sanders this year, or you can look at the overall body of work and realize this guy made 10 of the 25 worst plays in football this year. Do we even want to consider keeping this guy on? And then on top of that, you have Deshaun Watson, who is allegedly going to be coming back next year.
oh boy,
Yeah, that's insane.
Who was formerly a top 5 quarterback in the game and has seemingly lost all of that the last 5 years. There's a lot of questions at quarterback.
among other
in Cleveland.
things.
The defense
Yeah,
is
that's no
strong.
shit.
Yeah, the defense is very strong, right? They have probably the
Yeah.
best player in football lining up for them every day on the defensive side of the ball. They drafted well this past year. They have a lot of young talent Judkins, Harold Fannin were both like elite offensive rookies.
Yeah.
And like there are pieces to this job that are good, and then on the other side of it, it's the Cleveland job, which
It's
is
the Cleveland
seemingly
Browns.
cursed. And then there's the whole quarterback issue.
Yeah, I think it's honestly, I think that, and I know a lot of people were really up in the air about, Shedeur Sanders, the way that Stefanski handled that situation was super piss poor. Like I think he could have went about it in that whole situation in such a different way. But then again, it's like you drafted.
How differently would you want to handle it though, right? I felt like it's pretty textbook of how you do it. You start with the veteran that
Yeah.
is obviously the best guy in your room. You trade him because you want to see the young guys. You have to go to Gabriel first because you drafted him first. And then
Well, I think it was the whole like, which maybe I just need to brush up on how coaches kind of go about how their quarterbacks practice. But it just felt very wonky in Cleveland. It just felt like and I'm not going to say here, and I'm not going to say Shedeur Sanders is going to be this is this otherworldly quarterback, right? We saw him. I mean, he's played like dog shit. Let's just be frank. I mean, yeah, you're going to see glimpses, right? But I think overall, there's nothing really there that makes anybody say, well, I think Cleveland should stick with Shedeur Sanders besides his name. And it's just, I think that whole situation was fishy because, and maybe that has to do with the big name being just the fifth round pick and being the third string quarterback on the roster. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
it is, right? But at the end of the day, I think that teams are, especially the Cleveland Browns, and Stefanski's been dealt a very bad hand, especially on the offensive end, right? They just cannot find the right play caller. They can't find the guy at quarterback. They can't find the wide receiver one.
They can't put
They
all the pieces together.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what it
it's
is.
they'll
They
have the
found
coaches.
all of it.
They'll have a good one head coach, but it's
Yeah.
like then you got to line up the coordinators and the position coaches to also be good enough too.
Yeah,
And they're not playing in a division that's that hard to win.
especially
Like-
this year. This was your year, which it's Cleveland, right? We didn't expect anything from them, but at the same time, like they have. But that's the thing is that they have never been able to put it together. I think you had the one year you barely just lost to the Chiefs. That was that year that they kind of sort of put everything together, and then it just all fell apart. And
You know who ruined the Browns really is Odell's dad,
yep,
right? Because they put it all together that year, and then the next year they bring in Odell. They're expected to be this like they were supposed to win the North that year, and then Odell's dad was like, "Hey, here's a clips of 12 plays where my son was wide open and Baker didn't find him." And it turns out Baker was dealing with like an egregious shoulder injury.
Yeah,
that
it was
whole time.
horrible.
And they're like, you know what? You're not the guy anymore because you played on an unguaranteed. They picked up his 5th-year option, and they're
Mhm.
like, you don't have a contract for next season. And he played through injury all year, and they're like, you know what? No, we don't need you. And then they
Yeah.
go and get Deshaun Watson and tanked the next 4 years of their franchise. So
I think that they have made some of the worst decisions the past 5 years of Cleveland Browns football. And yeah, they made the playoffs, right? They made with Joe Flacco, that was a fever dream, really.
right.
But I think that they, as an organization, have probably put themselves, and I think that they were in it before, but I think have really inserted themselves into being one of the worst organizations in professional sports.
Oh yeah,
Like
for 50
I mean,
years.
this is, and yeah, you can suck, right? Like, I don't think anybody was really saying that the Detroit Lions were like arguably one of the worst organizations in sports because, yeah, they sucked, but they weren't going out knowingly trading for Deshaun Watson, knowing exactly what had just transpired with that. They went out, did that, let Baker go because he played on an injury. And then you sign Deshaun Watson to this big Uber contract, knowing, literally
Entirely guaranteed.
knowing what he had done. And I mean, that is one of the worst moves in professional in the past
Ever.
yeah, ever. Like that, I mean, that is such a brain
I
dead
don't know if I
move.
can actually think of a worse. Can you think of one that's worse?
I mean, surely we can, right?
The closest thing, I don't even know if it's worse, but the most eye-opening one is the Mavericks trading Luka Doncic mid-season last year.
Right,
Like,
but I
that's-
don't think I think you almost have to like find somebody with more off the field baggage.
Yeah.
Like I would just never I would never sign that contract because here's the thing. Deshaun Watson at the time was a pretty good quarterback. But you
Yep.
can still find another okay quarterback that doesn't cause controversy to your franchise.
Yeah. And now they're
I don't know
stuck
who
with
that is.
they're
But
they're
that,
stuck
like,
with
you're stuck with that image.
yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. Is now you're
the
the
Deshaun
team that
Watson
did
team.
that.
Yeah.
You're the team that made that decision. And you know what? I hope the Browns
guys,
lose for
but-
another 50 years.
Hey guys, at least Myles Garrett broke the sack record. We've got
Oh,
him.
That's the only thing that, like, I feel like somehow I found my way into watching, like, 4 of the last 5 Browns games. I don't know how I did it. But every single broadcast was just, like, the only thing they talked about was Myles Garrett trying to get
Yeah.
the sack record. But, yeah, the fact that they pushed out seemingly one of the heroes of the sport right now that's like universally loved,
Yeah.
to bring in the guy that everyone universally hated at the
Hey,
time
yeah,
and
that.
probably hates more now. It's
Oh my
jarring.
gosh, dude.
We don't have to rehash that. Yeah, I mean, this has been
Yeah,
like a
it's
while.
so stupid.
The Las Vegas Raiders fired Pete Carroll after 1 year, after what was just a disastrous season in Las Vegas. I'm kind of shocked still because Pete Carroll has such a proven track record, and again, seemingly this year, like nothing could have gone worse than it did. But they canned him, and the odds-on favorite to take this job is allegedly Brian Flores. So
Yeah. I think if any team needs an experienced head coach, like somebody who has just been a head coach and has shown some kind of success, it would be the Las Vegas Raiders. Like they need somebody that is going to step in and have like this is the only one of these jobs that I think this is not where a young head coach comes in and takes over. Like you need somebody there that can build a foundation and then kind of like Dan Quinn in Washington.
yeah,
It's like you hired that guy to build up a foundation. He's not going to be the long term guy. Everybody knows it. He's going to be canned after next year, right? That job's going to be open, but it's going to be a good job because the team's been built. And so you have, I think this is the perfect Kevin Stefanski job. I think if you're going to go, you're going to, you just had a really rough stint in Cleveland, but you've shown like that's the guy that Tom Brady needs to be eyeing. Like, hey, you need to come out here. You just need to change the culture a little bit, right? And so, yeah, but this is the job where it's a
well,
super glam looking job.
but I mean, they kind of did that last year. I mean, Pete, you want a culture guy that's coached at the NFL level. Pete Carroll won a Super Bowl. He's coached in the NFL for 20 years and was one of the best coaches in the NFL for 20 years, and they
I think
still looked like crap.
I think everybody kind of knew though that I think Pete Carroll's time in the NFL was done. I think everybody really kind of felt that. And then,
They felt
you
it
know,
after a month of this season,
well,
but I was
I
very
think
excited about that hire going into it.
a lot of Seattle fans were also like, dude, have good luck because he's not, and you saw it. He kind of just didn't play any of the young talent that the Raiders had, like at any position, right? Like you go out and you get Tyler Lockett, and then he brought in his Seattle guys. He brought in Jamal Adams, Geno Smith. Like, what are
Yeah.
we doing? Like, I mean, it's pitiful. And I think that and yeah, I guess Pete Carroll, that is like the experienced head coach, but I think everybody was kind of out on Pete Carroll after, the last couple of years in Seattle, even though obviously he's one of the best coaches of our generation. But
Yeah, I would say
I,
Pete Carroll at this point, like I don't know if he could be a head coach again, right?
no,
Like I don't know,
He's
but
done
like
now. Yeah.
it kind of feels like if he really wants to do something, he should just take over like a cushy front office role with Seattle again, right?
yeah, you would think. But
Or USC or something. Like go back to
Yeah,
college if
just
he can
like
do that.
yeah, just go like evaluate talent or something, right? You probably can do that, but your
yeah,
days on the sideline are over.
I think we're having a very similar conversation with Bill Belichick. Is like I think his days are done as a head
Clearly,
coach, right? I
that's it.
think
Yeah.
I think it's just and hey, they're great coaches, right? But there's a time when like what they do just
The
doesn't work
shelf life
anymore.
eventually expires.
Yeah,
I do
and
know for a fact that Tom Brady does love Brian Flores, though. Like, I feel like on his broadcast, I don't know why, I feel like I've made that connection with Brady and Flores. If you do bring in a guy like Brian Flores, what's really important is the offensive coordinator hire.
hmm
Because you're going to have the number one pick at quarterback, likely Mendoza. You're going to have Ashton Genty. You have Brock Bowers. You have these weapons. This, again, and we saw this move happen, could we just see like a retread of Cliff Kingsbury doing exactly what he did with Jaden Daniels and taking over the Vegas OC job if they were to hire a Flores? I think that could be a good fit.
yeah, I think that Cliff Kingsbury, it's literally the same exact thing as talking about having an experienced guy come in. Cliff Kingsbury, there is a ceiling to his offense, right? And we actually saw it in Arizona, we saw it in Washington, that he can formulate it's a simple offense that works for young quarterbacks. That's just what it is. It's very, you're going to have your underneath reads, you're going to have easy reads to make, and it's not going to be overly complicated. Because that was Jaden Daniels' big thing is, okay, he's kind of a one read kind of quarterback, and we've seen that, for, a lot of quarterbacks. Fuck, we saw it with Justin Fields in Chicago. But, I think Kingsbury kind of made it simple enough for Jaden Daniels. Now you kind of saw what that offense looked like. Even with Jaden Daniels on the field, it just was not as dynamic. You get another year of film, and it's like, okay, this is what we need to do to play against an offense like that. But I think would be a perfect hire at OC. It's not a glamorous role, but you got star players. Get your ball to your playmakers. Keep it simple for Mendoza, and keep the confidence up. At quarterback, that's the whole thing is confidence, right? And so I think that would be a slam dunk hire, but not a long-term hire.
Yeah.
He cannot be a long-term guy. Like I said, he's just got to build a foundation. And it's really hard to sell somebody on that.
That's possibly though what you need to do though. Yeah. Well, do you necessarily have to tell him that whenever you're hired? Like, I don't know. How do these relationships? I'm not an NFL GM.
Right.
No.
It's like, but you kind of get the
like
sense.
if things are going so well, then it's like, well, great, you can stay.
But if things aren't, it's like, well, you brought
the NFL coaching, the coaching life cycle is like, you've got about 2 or 3 years to figure it out, or you're out. Like,
it might be shorter than that at this point. Like, I think you need to show some form of growth, and if you don't, you're out.
You're out. Yeah.
Jonathan Gannon was fired as the head coach of the Cardinals on Black Monday. The leading candidate, according to this post, is Vance Joseph, who was Kingsbury's defensive coordinator for a long time in Arizona. I don't know. And again, Vance Joseph was the head coach of the Broncos, if you recall.
Yes.
Was an awful head coach.
Horrible.
Then he takes over as the defensive coordinator under Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona. Then he goes back to Denver under Sean Payton, takes over as the D coordinator there. And so he would be rounding the bases. He'd be touching home if he becomes the head coach for the Cardinals now. He'd be the head coach and DC of Arizona and Denver.
That would be the worst hire. That would be the worst hire of the offseason. Like, Brendan, I don't know how many times somebody needs to be. It's like Josh McDaniels, man. Okay, he's a good coordinator. Okay, we know that he can play call for sure. Okay, and the Raiders did it twice. They did it twice. They went back to him. They said, "You're back." What the fuck do you mean you're back? Are we serious? Like, he had one of the worst coaching cycles in Denver. They both went to Denver. Josh McDaniels and Vance Joseph both went to Denver.
Josh McDaniels led Tim Tebow to a playoff berth.
That was one of the worst coached teams ever. And then he goes back to New England and he's like, boom, Super Bowl, boom, Super Bowl, boom, Super Bowl. Oh, let's go to the Raiders. He was somehow worse than Pete Carroll, and he was given another year. He was given 2 years to go out there and put it together. And then he goes back to New England and makes Drake May look like an MVP candidate.
Do you remember when the Colts hired him and then he stepped away in like less than a week?
Dude,
what a career.
What a bullet dodged by the Indianapolis Colts, right? Like, that would have been, holy shit. Vance Joseph is horrible. He is a horrible coach.
He's a great defensive coordinator, though. Unreal defensive coordinator.
And then, but that's the thing, is like, if you double down on a head coach like that, you're just stupid.
Brendan, yeah, what? Okay, well, I want to know your thoughts on the.
I will say I don't want to say too much on this, but like I think too, it's like the only reason you go with somebody like Vance Joseph is he has a relationship with ownership, and there has to be something you believe in there.
Yeah.
I will also say this too. Jonathan Gannon, they had just done the defensive style head coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really think this team needs an offensive mind because the offense was a problem this year. Like
Do you think
that's all we
Todd
can say.
Monken type guy?
I don't know. But, well, and the thing is, I know these odds you're talking about. Like Brian Flores is like, of course, tied to this job too,
Yeah.
and Clint Kubiak as well.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I saw like a USA Today post that had like Mike McCarthy as like plus 700. So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
let him turn around the franchise. Let's see that in action. Holy shit,
don't know,
that would
man.
make me. I'd laugh.
I don't know, man. I think in terms of firing Gannon, like
Mhm.
unfortunately to me, like I think it had to happen, right?
Yep.
Because this year they had
They
made
kind of
strides last year because
bottomed out
they
again.
went like 8-9 last year. And you think, okay, well the team invested quite a lot into the defense this year. And then they just got hammered with injuries. I mean, all around the field, they were Marvin Harrison Jr. played like half the games this year.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray got hurt, and it's like they were down to the running back 3 from their preseason roster. Like you had both James Conner and Trey Benson not even on the roster for most of the year. So I think it may have been a little bit of bad luck for Gannon this season too, just with his defense and or with his whole roster getting hurt. But that's part of football too.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know who they're going to hire, and I don't know the right answer.
Stefanski, I feel like would be a good. Like,
Yeah.
If they could somehow get to Stefanski, I feel like that would be a great hire for them because I feel like he's a floor riser and he's
Yeah.
an offensive mind that would. I mean, maybe not unlock Kyler Murray. I don't even know if Kyler Murray's going to be the guy next year. But I
That
trust
was another
him
thing.
to be an offensive to
Who
lead
knows?
that offense to better
That's
things.
nobody knows that around here either.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was another that's another team that had such a weird quarterback head coach controversy. Like it was just so weird. Like, yeah, okay. I get it, right? Kyler's been there for a while. We've seen him succeed. We've seen him play like shit, That's one of those things. But there's no, hey, you're not the quarterback of the team anymore. You are paying that man $55 million a year. Okay, like but it was just so weird. He was like, yeah, he's just not going to be the quarterback of the team anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is not his team.
And
And
they went
now
to
they're
Brissett.
kind of.
They went to
It's
Brissett.
weird.
And Brissett was like he was better, but the team was worse.
The team sucked.
They didn't. I
Like,
don't know if Brissett won a game, right? But okay, and then probably one of the surprise firings was John Harbaugh being
Yeah.
ousted from Baltimore, because again he's one of the 7 best coaches in football and probably has been for 15 years now. But again, like a lot of these like jobs, it's just kind of it's run its course. We need to
Yep.
try something new. The odds-on favorite that I'm seeing is Jesse Minter, which is kind of funny. You go from John Harbaugh to Jim Harbaugh's right-hand man, but
yeah.
they're looking to bring in, it appears, a defensive-minded head coach. Because Flores is another guy that's linked. I don't know. Like, what's the move for Baltimore? Is it a defensive head coach with like a new age OC? Or is it like I don't know what the move is there.
Well, we can get one thing out of the way, and that is Baltimore. This move should have happened 2 years ago, right? Whenever Mike McDonald went and took a head coach job at Seattle. And
Yeah.
you look at what he's done in Seattle, and you see it everywhere with Baltimore fans. They're all pissed that Mike McDonald is not the head coach of this team, which hindsight 2020, right? Because back then they weren't pissed, you know.
Why would you
But
be, right?
that is unfortunately, and I think that maybe a little bit of that is happening in Detroit right now, which is like you just let
You could
you
say
let
that
your
you could say that you could hindsight's 2020 about anyone. Like I'm mad that the Arizona Cardinals didn't hire Ben Johnson then. Sure.
well, I mean in the sense of
The guy was in the building.
you
Yeah.
have a guy
Yeah.
there that okay, like he's going to be a good head coach somewhere. It doesn't matter where he goes, right? And I think that Detroit's feeling that right now. Looking and yeah,
Because of Aaron Glenn?
actually,
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn coached the worst defense of all time. Hilarious. But I think that Detroit's seeing that with Ben Johnson. I think that, and I really think that Baltimore is feeling that with Mike McDonald right now. Because honestly, if I were to hand out a Coach of the Year award right now, it would go to Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
Read my latest article, by the way. But like Mike McDonald has been the best coach in football this year, and it's just like it stinks, right? But you kind of got to move. You gotta, you just all right. That happened. We'll try not to do that again. And I don't know what you do in Baltimore though. You can't. I don't think they're in a spot to bring in a young and inexperienced guy. I think that you have to get a guy that can go out there. He's shown success. You got to find some life in that defense first off, because that's an uber talented defense that played absolutely horrible this year.
I think Flores would be a tremendous culture fit. I think he would
Yeah,
be a great fit for the locker room. But again, whenever you hire Brian Flores and you have a young quarterback, you need to make sure the offensive guy in the building is
yeah,
good. Because I think what they need to do, I think you're right. I think they bring in Brian Flores, even Mentor, if they do land on that name. Bring in a defensive minded head coach that, has, like a spark to him, because that's really what this team needs. But it's really important that you land the right offensive guy. And
damn, I
someone
got
who
tangled
to
up.
unlock what Lamar Jackson, like all the talent that he has in the postseason.
Yeah,
And then the last job that opened up, which is really surprising to me because of all the stories that came out earlier in the week, is the Miami job and Mike McDaniel being fired.
yeah,
Mike McDaniel could be the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, by the way. I've seen that link before. That
yeah.
would be something.
I don't.
Interesting.
I have no odds on this one because the post I'm looking at came before Miami fired McDaniel.
Do you
But
think
what kind of move is Miami
think
looking
that
to make
Mike-
here?
Ooh. I'm more interested. Could Mike McDaniel be a head coach again next season?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Like, is somebody going to go after him?
you'd think. You would think.
He's a guy that, yeah, I mean, talk about the opposite of a Brian Flores culture. I mean, legitimately, Miami went polar opposite ends of the spectrum with Flores and McDaniel.
They
But like,
whoever takes over, I think needs to kind of do like what happened in Indiana, or maybe have kind of like a Kyle Shanahan like quarterback lab kind of ability,
yeah,
because there's a quarterback the big problem in Miami is the quarterback room, right? What's happening with Tua, or is it Quinn Ewers now? Like
or are they going to
that
draft someone?
created a lot of problems this year. Or you draft,
Holy
but
shit.
are they really in the best position to draft anyone? And the quarterback class this year overall isn't that great. It's like Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, gap. Like,
Trinidad, Ty Simpson.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't. Yeah. I don't know. I think if you're Miami, the fact that you're firing Mike McDaniel tells me right now that you do not intend on competing this year. Just if you look at that overall roster, you have 2.5 win now pieces in Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill. And aside from that, like that defense is not built to win right now. They traded away Jalen Phillips. Tua is currently acting as one of the worst quarterbacks in football. He wasn't that for a long time. He is that now. But you already
Yeah.
agreed to pay him a lot of
Yeah.
money. So next year, you're going to bring in a guy who, right? Do you like bring in? This is not the name, but it's the idea. Do you bring in an Andy Dalton type of guy to like be a bridge guy and just kind of get you along in the season? Or do you ride it out with Tua, give him another year under the offense, and just kind of flush this season, use it to like evaluate young talent, and then go into year 2 and 3 as like a full rebuild and hope that you can be ready to go by year 3?
I
think
think,
that's
man, you have to write it out with Tua. Like
I think
at
I
this
think
point,
they're
yeah,
forced.
I
that's
think
the likely outcome.
you're financially tied to him, even if it's like I feel like it's kind of a safety issue having Tua on the field at this point, right? I mean, he's not very good at playing quarterback, but we've seen the injury history. He clearly, I think that is what has affected his ability to play
Right?
quarterback.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that.
And
Yeah.
but like again, you've paid him so much money. He is still like say what you want. He's still going to be your best option next year.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think that you're looking to win. And then is there a guy out there? You're probably going to look to hire another young offensive guy to take over this job because how many guys are out there right now that want a head coaching job where 3 years, 4 years down the line you're still not looking to be competitive?
This is a team this is like the most Cliff Kingsbury gets a head coaching job ever. I like this is the team because like you have to have somebody that is willing to come in and say I can put together a formidable offense with what I'm given. Like that
But
offense sucked.
I just feel like Cliff Kingsbury is just lesser Mike McDaniel, right? I feel like it's the same guy but not as good.
I
Am I
think
wrong?
that I think with Mike McDaniel and his, kind of the way he goes about coaching, it's super personnel heavy. Like his offense is built around guys who are fucking
Fitness scheme.
fast.
Yeah.
He's like, if you are not fast, you will not fit in the scheme. And I think I think that kind of offense is never going to be sustainable. That's never
Yeah,
something
because
that
I feel like it leads to so many injuries.
right, and we're seeing that. We we have seen Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill miss countless games. Devon Achane has missed games. And there is a direct correlation with speed and injuries to your lower body. Like that is just it's the same thing with baseball. If you throw fast, there is a direct correlation to injuries, and so I think that's just an offense that I don't think is sustainable. I think Cliff Kingsbury offensively, you can sustain a slightly above average offense. I think I think that's what they need. They need something where, okay, Tua, we want to make sure that you don't have to essentially, and this is a horrible way to put this, use your brain. Like you literally don't have to overthink things, and brought it up with Jaden Daniels is kind of what that offense was last year, and that's kind of what it was with Kyler Murray in Arizona. Like the offense was good enough, but that's never an offense that's ever going to win you a bunch of games. But I do think that there is a way for Tua to be serviceable. There is. They're just. I mean, how many quarterbacks have we seen suck bad?
I kind of disagree with Graham though. Like, I feel like it's just a safety issue at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Tua, I feel like what Mike McDaniel did
I want
in
him to be
Miami-
able to walk after his playing career.
Right.
Like,
What Mike McDaniel did in Miami was suit the offense to fit Tua's needs, right? Is there another guy that you can bring in that's going to make Tua better than Mike McDaniel? I don't think so. This move really confounds me. I have a lot of issues with it overall.
So
But
what's unfortunate is like the whole injury thing is the only person there are two people that are going to have a decision on any of this with Tua and his injuries. Number one That's any doctor that Tua goes to has to say, Tua, you can't play football anymore. But I don't think. How many players do you think have heard that or have heard? I don't think that you should be playing football anymore, and have kept playing football a lot, a
Oh
lot.
yeah. I mean
Chris
Every
that's
Olave.
their livelihood. It's their livelihood.
every
That's how.
single player ever who has ever heard that is Chris Olave. I mean, I watched him get his head beaten to the ground many times, and he was like, they're gonna keep fighting to play. The only person that's outside of a doctor that's going to tell Tua, hey man, listen, I don't think you should be playing anymore, is Tua. So, and if something happens and he sits there and thinks, maybe I should, maybe I do want to, be able to walk by 40, or I have like brain capacity until I'm 50, right? Like, and that those are genuine things, right? I mean, I mean, how many people have we seen kind of go off the rails, mentally because of what happened during their NFL career? I mean, countless
Yeah.
players. And so
GG.
I do think, and once again, we talk about direct correlation. There is direct correlation to concussions and CTE. Like that's just
Yeah.
that's a real life thing. I think people forget that, and I think the players forget that because it's in the moment, right? It is their livelihood. That's their job. But at the end of the day, dude, if you like, I, how many more concussions can Tua take? And I think genuinely the answer is one. I think if he was to get another one, I think he's cooked. I think he's done. And
The
I
issue
don't
that I
think.
have
Yeah.
this year is that I feel like this year the team was not competitive, and I felt like I saw more of Tua being happy than I ever have. I feel like this is the happiest Tua's been his entire career, and so like he just seemed real jovial all year. I don't know. It's a weird like juxtaposition with Tua and the
I would
injuries, but
say, I don't know if you guys would agree though. Like, and maybe in terms of like head coaching, when you come in, like, you know how a lot of head coaches, they'll have a lot of say in maybe who the team drafts and you're going to sign in free agency. I think Miami might be in probably the worst position of any of the
yeah,
teams to take over, because of the amount of money that Tyreek Hill and Tua take up in the salary cap, and the fact that they don't have the greatest draft position this year. So they're going to have a pretty good draft class this year
yeah,
to
yeah,
be more competitive. But until Tua is not on the books, really, there's so much money tied up.
you're being handcuffed. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then the
And I think it's like a lot of head coaches are good coaches, but some of them fail in the NFL because, again, you're not playing. If you don't have, you have to have a good roster to compete in the NFL. Like, that's just how it is. It's not like college football is much because everyone's much better. So that's the problem.
yeah,
We talked a lot about the Dolphins today. Dang.
yeah
yeah. Too much,
they
man.
a lot of Florida football talk. Just the whole state of Florida in general.
Yeah,
A lot
what
of
Um,
Hard
did?
Rock Stadium football talk, you know?
yeah.
Hell yeah.
The last two jobs that came open a long time ago, seemingly the jobs that are the most like cut and dry. This is probably who they're going to hire. Tennessee, Matt Nagy is a heavy favorite, and it's sorry to our guy Lance who couldn't make
Yeah,
it
man.
today. Um, he is going to jump ship. He will be a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan probably by this time next week.
I just don't know why. I genuinely
I
Baffling,
don't
like,
get it.
and this is
baffling.
like, this is what infuriates me, right? And being a Chicago Bears fan, okay, I've seen some pretty fucking horrible head coaches, pretty bad head coaches. I think that the way that I would feel if I was a Titans fan hiring Matt Nagy is the way that I felt when the Chicago Bears hired Matt Eberflus. Like, that was such a,
It was
like,
doomed from the start.
it was like a, this guy is, for one, and no offense to Matt Eberflus, but this guy, when you look at him, does not strike you as an NFL head coach.
He's
It's
got
kind of
dumb
like the Mike
face. He's
McDaniel
got dumb face.
situation. It's like, and I do think, let's look at Mike McDaniel and let's look at Mike Vrabel. Okay, let's look at those two guys. You tell me which one you would rather want your team to be coached by without having any resume in front of you. I know exactly who I'm picking. I'm picking Dan Campbell because of, they have an intimidating presence, right?
Hmm.
Matt Eberflus never once in a million years looked intimidating at all. And I think it's the same thing with Matt Nagy. He just strikes me as such a how do I say this?
No, I would say
He
Matt Nagy has the. I mean, if we're just critiquing look of a coach, I think Matt Nagy looks more like a coach than Matt Eberflus.
I think I look like more of a coach than Matt Eberflus because that's how
What I'm saying, yeah, but like I
we're
will say, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm with you there, Austin, because he was horrendous with the Bears. Took them to the playoffs one time,
Twice.
mm,
Twice. 2020.
twice.
2020, they went 8-8.
Oh,
They got the last spot.
it doesn't
forgot about
count,
that.
bro. It doesn't count.
Okay, whatever.
I saw the
One
video.
time where anyone was in the stands, and the way that I mean, his last seasons in Chicago were terrible.
Yeah, they were
So
rough.
how do you and also now he's the Chiefs offensive coordinator. I don't know how you see what he's
ruined
done
the
with
Chiefs.
Kansas.
He ruined the Chiefs. How do you?
I don't know
ruined
how
him.
you see what the Chiefs have done the last 2 years and think, that's the guy for me.
What an awful. Like I don't. Yeah, the Titans they're doomed.
It just makes it. I don't even know what, and this happens every year. And I think that this coaching carousel this year is a super interesting one because I think a lot of times, especially last year, we saw a lot of inexperienced head coaches, like great coordinators, go off and take jobs. I think this year there's a lot more experienced head coaches who have seen success in the NFL. They just got the rough end of a deal, right? And I think that you're just going to see a bunch of experienced head coaches, just flip-flopping teams. And I think that sets I think that's really interesting, especially for teams needy for a head coach, because now I think the top guy, okay, is Clint Kubiak and Brian Flores. Those are your two top coordinators for head coach positions.
Mhm.
Do you, if you are a head coach needy team, like the Titans, for example, maybe the Titans are playing chess here, and you hire a guy like Matt Nagy, who is easily fireable. There it is. Like he can suck next year and say, well, shit, you've always been ass, so see ya, right? And do you just hire somebody to fill the gap, like a bridge coach, essentially, to fill that gap for next year? You have a little bit of experience, but you're really waiting for that guy. And I think, maybe once again, hindsight 2020, Chicago did that with Eberflus, bringing him back and then firing him mid-season.
Could you potentially say that that's what the Texans did with Lovie Smith?
Yes, Like
Like,
I think I think that teams think this way, and they know everybody in the NFL. They know who is going to stay or who is going to. Hey, like I think I'm good enough to be a head coach, right? I I think that Tennessee is just going to hire Matt Nagy just to get some kind of coach in there. They don't want to hire. They don't want to give somebody too much money. They don't want to hire somebody that is like, none of these guys are going to fix Tennessee. This is a long-term thing. And I think the only downside to that is you have a very young quarterback. And so now you have to hire a guy to I mean, what? Cam Ward's going on his third head coach, and he hasn't even started his second season yet. I think that's an issue. But I think that Tennessee, if they hire Matt Nagy, they are going to fire him next year if there is a very good coordinator, like a Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn-esque coordinator that's on the market. Guarantee it.
And then the last job is the Giants job, which
The
Schefter
best
came
job.
out like immediately and is like Jim or John Harbaugh is probably going to take this job.
Yeah. I
That's a
think that
slam dunk
they can be a playoff team with the right head coach. Like that's a really
next
good
year.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they
they
have the young pass rushers, right? They need to improve in the secondary, but The
But they
quarterback is
they
there.
have some talent there. Like
Yeah.
they got Javon Holland, they got Deontay Banks, who's all right, but they got something.
The quarterback is there. You have your running back, which isn't that important. The receiving core is fine, right? Malik Neighbors is going to be back.
Yeah, you've got your guy though.
You've got
Like
your
that's the big
tackles.
thing.
Like that's. I
You've
think
got a good team.
barring, I mean, again, we're kind of doing this teeter totter thing with the Eagles, right? Where like every other year they're either a juggernaut or sneaky ass.
Yeah.
Next year maybe they'll tip towards the juggernaut scale again, but
Yeah, probably piss me off.
the Giants, like, if there was a time to go and try and claim your stake your claim to the division, like next year,
Yes.
2 years down the line, that could be the time. And John Harbaugh is far and away the most accomplished candidate on the market. So,
Yeah. I think I would, if I were the New York Giants, I would have an empty check and I would say, John, write your money. Because he's the perfect guy for the Jets. Or the Jets, the Giants. God, that
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
does not need. The guy's
that would be a
NFL
challenge,
coaching
dropping to the
career.
Jets. Yeah.
You ever think, and tad bit off topic, I know we're running low on time. Do you think that coaches think that way? They're like, man, I want to go to this team because it'll be more of a challenge.
No.
Like, I'm gonna.
No, no, because
I mean-
I feel like there's so much avenue for it to go wrong that you're like, I'm out.
For a job that like
That's true.
actually is completely meaningless in like the grand scale of everything, being an NFL head coach has got to be like one of the 6 most stressful jobs on the planet. And no
Yeah.
coach is going to sit there and say, I'm going to add more problems to my plate that I don't need to. Right? I mean, maybe Kurt Signetti wants to do that, but like
Yeah, no.
you have to be a real
yeah.
maniac to be a guy that's like, yeah, no, I'll take the harder job. No.
Yeah, I'll take Indiana because they've never been good at football.
Okay, and now 2 hours in, we have arrived to our NFL Wildcard Weekend preview.
Wow, unreal. We're having a great time. We're having a great
I
time.
mean,
That's what matters.
A lot of insights today. Is what's really important.
For real.
Right
Oh, that's
for
funny.
clips. This afternoon at 3:30 Central on Fox, the opening game of the playoffs, the Carolina Panthers, NFC South champions, are 10-point home underdogs against the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, your thoughts. Go ahead, whoever wants to take it.
So, what's so funny, okay, is there is a path. There is a path for Carolina to win this
They
game.
did it earlier this year. They've already
Because
won
they've
this
done
game.
it right. Yeah, and I kind of compare it to Oregon and Indiana, right? There was a path for Oregon winning that game. Now, do I think that Los Angeles is as dominant as Indiana is in college football? No. I think the parity in the NFL is absolutely perfect. I think it's perfect right now. I think
This year
any team
especially, yeah.
any team in the postseason can go on a run, except the Carolina Panthers, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
like they're fun, right? It's an awesome story. It's a great story. Dave Canales, man. I mean, he has absolutely changed the culture in Carolina. And I think that's, going back to like, John Harbaugh and, the Ravens let Mike McDonald go. I think Tampa Bay is feeling that same thing right now, letting Dave Canales and Liam Cohen leave the building and keeping Todd Bowles. But honestly, I just don't see any way, shape, or form that Los Angeles doesn't come out with the win. There's just no shot.
There is a shot. Slim. Do you guys remember, again, not to bring up the 2020 NFL season for a second time on the show,
God
when
damn it.
the 7-9 Washington football team won the NFC East?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The Tom Brady future Super Bowl champion Buccaneers walked into the Washington football team or stadium in Landover, Maryland, quarterbacked by Taylor Heineke, and nearly won an NFL
Yep.
wild card playoff game against the team that would go on to win the championship.
Absolutely electric. Absolutely
Great
electric.
game.
That was such a fun game.
That's all I can hope for with this game
Yeah.
this afternoon is give me something that resembles that.
I think that this Carolina team is better than that Washington football team,
Certainly. Yeah.
right? Absolutely.
Even though
It-
they're only a half game in the overall scheme of things.
I mean, Bryce Young's got some playmakers. If they can just dominate time of possession, which they can, they have the rushing attack to do so. That's the only way you win this game, though. And you got to force
Also-
Matthew Stafford to, that's what they happened in the first game. They forced him into turnovers, and so
I'd like to
There's
issue
a
a
path.
challenge on behalf of the 5 Out podcast to Bryce Young to make a statement on a national stage.
Bryce, we
Because
love you. We
no
love
one,
you,
like-
Bryce.
Bryce Young, I'm going to be honest, the greater casual NFL fan base has not seen you play since you played at Alabama, since you lost the national title game. That's the last game they remember of you. They haven't seen you
Yeah.
one time since then. Go out there today.
Hey,
You're gonna have
can
all
I
the
say
eyes on
something
you.
a little sad?
Yeah.
No.
My Arizona Cardinals' best win was against the Panthers this year. Oh my God,
Hey,
so sad.
gauntlet potential like juggernaut though. We'll see. Today we'll know.
Hey,
Yeah,
I think
I guess.
here's the thing. They had to have a lot of things go right for them to beat the Rams one time. I don't know if it happens again though. Like that's the thing. And Stafford is playing like an MVP this year. I think 10 points is such a huge spread for an NFL game.
I would say,
Holy
do we
crap.
think is this the biggest
That's
playoff
over.
home and underdog spread ever?
I
That's
remember
great.
Buffalo when they played Pittsburgh when Mason Rudolph was the quarterback. I think it was
Yeah.
like 2 years ago. That game was like, I'm going to be honest, it was like 13 and a half.
But
like,
Buffalo
it
is the
fucking
home
insane.
team. Is the
Yes.
difference? Like
Yes. Oh,
this is-
okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're
Arguably,
saying.
I mean, maybe since that.
But it probably would have been a
Washington
similar
football team game.
spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then tonight's game is super meaningless in the grand scheme of things. The Packers travel to Chicago, to Soldier Field, and are 1.5-point favorites on the road against the Bears. I was hoping to be at this game, but tickets have not dipped any lower than about $400, and I was not willing to fork over my day to do that. Austin,
Oh,
yeah.
man. Dude.
What are
First
you
off,
expecting tonight?
First off, like, yeah, it'll be disappointing, right? If Chicago loses. Holy shit. What a turnaround in Chicago. I don't even care. Like, obviously I want to win, right? At the end of the day, the Bears were 5-12 last year. I watched them lose 11 straight games. Watch them lose 11 straight games. And it's like I as a Bears fan, right? I've been watching Bears football for most of my life, and I have never been more excited about Bears football ever. Even after 2018, even after that great of a season, I've never been as excited for future Bears football. Like,
That's reasonable. Yeah.
and honestly, just looking at the game, I think both teams are in kind of a similar spot. With Jordan Love is coming back off injury. We haven't seen him since the Bears last played the Green Bay Packers. Unfortunately, the Bears needed a lot of things to go right to win at home in their last matchup. But then I look at the matchup before, right, and I'm like, man, it was such a fun game. Anyways, it was a good game, and it was a close victory for Green Bay. But at the end of the day, both teams are coming in. Bears have lost 2 in a row.
Packers have lost 4.
Packers have lost 4 in a row. Both teams kind of
last win was against each other. The Packers' last one was the
Yeah.
Bears game. The Bears' last one was the Packers game.
So I think that both teams are kind of in a similar spot. Like, you haven't really, there's not a whole lot of momentum. I would say that there's probably more momentum for Chicago because of the way that they played the past 2 weeks. They've played good football. They just haven't won the games. And I think that's a big defense issue, right? Because I think Caleb Williams and the offense has put Chicago in positions to win games. They just absolutely have done that. But then again, you see how Chicago looked against a 49ers team, and they, from from start to finish, it was a masterclass of an offensive performance. Then they go, play Detroit, and they kind of, fizzle out until the fourth quarter like they always do. That's their fucking strong suit. But yeah, give me the motherfucking Bears, bro. Give me my Bears at home.
There have been
It's
two.
I've also
they're due.
I also think the Bears are the Bears have got this one.
Let's go,
The
Brandon.
last two games that the Bears and Packers have played have been instant classics. So we are due for a blowout Bears win, right? I think we're due for the Bears to win by about 28 points tonight.
28 points. Come on.
I'm not going to get
in a playoff game. I think
was
think
gonna-
the crowd is going to be electric
Yeah.
tonight.
I mean,
So-
first home Bears playoff game since the double doink. Against
Yeah,
Philly
thanks for reminding me
in
of that
2018.
bullshit, asshole.
I'm sorry, but
That
it's-
is the only football game I've ever watched in my life, and I cried.
that's
I
the
cried
moment.
after that game.
That's what the moment is, right? This is.
I
the
still
biggest
remember
moment
where I was
since then.
after the double doink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone should.
I remember looking for a gun at 14 years old.
The AFC Championship is happening tomorrow at noon, right? That's a hot take. You guys hear me? You hear what I just said?
What'd you say?
The AFC
The
Championship
AFC
is
Championship.
happening tomorrow at noon between the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. Yes.
The Jags
Absolutely,
are
1000%.
the Jacksonville Jaguars
yes.
are a 1.5 favorite
Yes.
against the Bills. What a game.
Dude, the Jags are red hot at, like, this is what they talk about whenever they're like, you need to get hot at the right time. You need to be playing your best football at the right time. I think a lot of people were saying that, early in the season, you look at the Colts, right? Red hot to start the season. They fizzled out. They missed the postseason. Jacksonville Jaguars, man. They stayed afloat. They stayed afloat through the first half of the year, and then they just absolutely hit their stride. Do I think Trevor Lawrence is any better than he's ever been? Maybe a little bit. All right.
Yeah. This is
Like,
the best he's played. That's
I
fair to
think
say.
I think stats will tell you he's not that much farther. He's not that much better than what he has been. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This team looks absolutely incredible. Give me Jacksonville.
And he's been unlocked in a way with Liam Cohen taking over the offense.
Mhm.
Despite losing his supposed wide receiver 2, I don't know if we talked about this last week, but the guy that was supposed to come in revitalize this team, they traded up to get a top 2 pick to get him, and Travis Hunter. He
Yeah.
hasn't played in weeks. And the supposed wide receiver 1, future guy of the franchise, Brian Thomas Jr., has not been very good.
He's been really bad.
And Trevor Lawrence is playing the best he's played, dishing the ball out to Parker Washington and Brenton Strange. Right?
Parker Washington, man, he has been awesome.
That guy can play. There's a world in which at this time next year we're talking about Travis Hunter being a full-time corner because the receiver room is good enough without him.
This is I don't know. I love actually seeing the Jags be good. I don't know. They went through such a history of being so terrible. Then they had one good year, but I don't know. I think it's
different.
great. The only thing I would say that maybe it's not the AFC Championship game in the sense of I don't know. There's some other good games, but
There are again.
I don't know if you say this as if if Jacksonville wins, great, they're going to the Super Bowl, right? Or whoever wins this game. Is that what you're calling?
No, the point I'm making, I think right now these are the two best teams in the AFC. Now there are, I think, Denver, New England, and Houston. And am I forgetting someone? Denver, New England, Houston. That's probably those three, right? I don't think Pittsburgh or LA are quite in the same tier. I think any of those three teams can also make it to the Super Bowl. There's a ton of parity in the AFC right now. But I think if you ask me right now who are the two best teams in the AFC at this moment, these are the two teams I'd pick. So that's kind of the point I'm making.
All right, guys, I actually have to get going.
That's
got to be in
completely
Tempe
fair.
in 40 minutes.
Okay.
So
Thank you for joining, Brendan.
Yeah,
Good
thanks.
pod.
Yes.
We'll,
Sorry about my
end
tardiness,
it
fellas.
soon.
All good.
Yeah.
You made
All
up
right.
for
You
it,
added
man.
life to the podcast.
All right. Here we
What-
go.
what-
So,
See ya.
all right,
Trying to
let's
say I
finish
don't
this
bring
off.
life to the podcast?
Yeah.
Was that a jab at me?
No, it was
Okay.
not.
Okay.
I'm saying
I-
if he was here off the rip, if he wasn't tardy, we probably would have been done 20 minutes ago. We're still
yeah,
talking.
that's actually.
We've
no
rehashed
shit.
a lot of things. San Fran at Philly, the supposed game of the week, although it's not. It isn't. Philly is a 6-point favorite. Really? That's shocking.
Well, I think and I saw the statistic is Vic Fangio is really good against Kyle Shanahan. Like
Okay. Yeah.
very
checks out.
like I don't think a Kyle Shanahan led offense has scored 20 points on a Vic Fangio led defense. Which makes sense, right? I mean, listen, I could talk for days about Vic Fangio. I love that man more than probably any other coordinator in the sport.
Sure.
Like he is absolutely he's perfect.
Mhm.
He's a perfect defensive coordinator. And so I don't know, 6 point favorite. That's a big spread.
Yeah, it is. And again, the 49ers have kind of been, ebbing and flowing because you saw obviously the game against the Bears we talked about, right?
Right.
The offense is just unbelievable. And
Right.
then last week against Seattle, they scored 3 points.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's
who
just
knows?
very-
Who knows what team you're going to get with San Fran? And
I'm
they
gonna
have so
take-
many injuries on the defensive side of the ball.
That I think that's my big thing. I'm going to take Philly because I think Philly's the healthier squad. I think there's more chemistry, right? And Philly, they've been playing some sneaky good football as of late. Now I know they lost last week, but
Yeah. Again,
whatever.
that game doesn't. Yeah, it was Tanner McKee. That doesn't
But-
really count.
They've been playing good football, and I think really since that embarrassing Bears loss, they've been solid.
Yeah.
So
Sure, I can get. I think they'll win the game too, but again, who knows what type of San Francisco team comes
Right.
out of the top.
and who knows what kind of Philly team we're gonna
That's
get,
also
right?
yeah. Okay, and then the nightcap, the L.A. Chargers are 3.5-point dogs going to Foxborough to play the New England Patriots. I'll start this one by saying I love the Patriots in this spot. I
Yeah,
think
I do too.
the Chargers are, I don't want to say paper tiger. I think that's the wrong word because I think they've achieved a lot, but I think they have some very obvious weaknesses. And I think the only way that they come out of this game victorious is if Justin Herbert puts on the Superman cape and does what he can do. But oftentimes, in this spot, we've seen him come up just short time and time again. I'm
Yep.
expecting to see the same tomorrow night.
I think the offense I look at both offenses, and I think that Drake May has just his playmakers aren't nearly. I don't think they're as good as what Justin Herbert's working with in Los Angeles, right? Because I'd rather have Lad McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston than Stephon Diggs. Is it Keyshawn?
Kayshawn
Is it
Moody.
Keyshawn? And
I like Moody's good.
Pop Douglas, right?
Yeah, Hunter Henry.
But I honestly I think that I think that Herbo has to do more of putting the offense on his back
Certainly.
because of kind of not that I just think the formula that they have in New England is much better. So
Yep, I agree. I'm totally with the Patriots in this one.
yeah.
And then the nightcap on Monday, the cap of the weekend, the Houston Texans are 3-point road favorites in Pittsburgh. This
Yeah.
game I'm particularly
It's gonna
interested
suck.
in. I'm very interested in it. I do agree it's not going to be very pretty football, but I feel like the overwhelming majority of people are sitting here and thinking that Houston's going to firmly dominate the game, and I just don't see it going that way. Because, twofold, the Texans' style of play lends itself to, low-scoring games, obviously, but that
Yep.
offense hasn't done anything to wow me. I don't think they're going to blow anyone out.
Yeah.
And then again, you just drop Aaron Rodgers in a home playoff game. I don't care what type of Aaron Rodgers you've seen all year. He is going to keep his team at least competitive, right? He's not
Yeah.
going to lay down and die. So, again, ugly probably, but I'm expecting a close game. And I'd also like to give a shout out to the Houston Texans for playing their first playoff game in 25 years that's not on Saturday at 3:30.
Is that true?
Every single game that they have played has been the Saturday 3:30 window for 20 years. Even like in the wild card round, they always have that first game, and then even when they would win and they'd play in the divisional, they would also only get that slot. They'd always play
It's
the
because
first game
they
that weekend.
they always throw the worst
Yep.
playoff game. That's so funny.
Shout out to
I
the
did not
Carolina
know that.
Panthers for being this year's Houston Texans.
Yep, and they're gonna be for a while, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I think that there's more of a path for Pittsburgh winning against Houston than any other team beating, like the Los Angeles over New England, and which I guess Buffalo and Jacksonville is going to be a good
I think
game.
that
But
game
there's
could be a
definitely
toss-up.
there is definitely a world where Pittsburgh comes out of this game, and it'll be it'll be a 13-10 game, but like there is a world where Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers they win this game, and then um now I'm trying to think they would play Denver.
Oh, it depends, because in the NFL they
Right.
reseed.
Okay.
So who knows who they would end up playing.
Well,
right?
let's just say the favorites. Let's
if
just
all
say
the-
the favorites win.
If all the
then-
favorites win, then yes. Well, if all the favorites win, then they would lose, but they would be going to Denver.
yeah, and like the Steelers are just a team you don't really want to play in the playoffs. I mean, they got it just feels like a really scrappy team. It's a veteran-led team, and they've got they've got one of the best coaches in the sport right now, and he
I have a-
he
I
knows
have a
how to
Mike
win
Tomlin.
damn games.
I have a Mike Tomlin point I'd like to make. There's like immovable object is going to meet a what's the type of force? The unstoppable
Unstoppable.
force.
Yeah.
Because Mike Tomlin, I believe, in the last like 20 years, maybe I don't know what his record is, but he has an outstanding track record on Monday night home games. I don't think he has ever lost a Monday night football home game in like 20 years. But on the other hand, every single time they've made the playoffs in the last 10 years, they've lost their first game.
They haven't
So-
won one playoff game.
I can't think of the last time that they won a playoff game, right? Because going back to the 2017 team, that was the last time that I think they were like really, really good. They have a home game against the Bortles-led Jaguars, and they lose. They get upset.
Yep.
I don't think they've won a playoff game since then. I might be wrong, but like they're awful on Wild Card Weekend.
Wow.
So
that's pretty-
there's going to be a moment in time.
a moment in history.
Yeah, something's got to give here with Mike Tomlin, and I'm nervous that it's going to be. I'm nervous it's going to be the fact that he.
I just got notified Miami is interviewing Clint Kubiak.
Okay. Yes, I
So
just pulled it up. The last Pittsburgh Steelers playoff victory was on January 15th, 2017, in the divisional round in Kansas City. Before they would lose in the AFC Championship game to the Patriots that year. Their last 6 playoff games.
Yep.
Lose to New England in that AFC Championship. Lose to the Jags in the divisional. Lose to the Browns in the wild card. Lose at the Chiefs in the wild card. Lose at the Bills in that wild card game that we talked about. And then last year they lose in Baltimore. 0-6 in his last 6 playoff games for Mike Tomlin.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. But yeah, that'll do it. How about that? A brisk 140-minute episode of 5 Out.
I mean, that's a lot. A great week of football
Yeah,
is all I have to say.
And yeah, 135 of the minutes we're talking about football.
And that's electric,
that's what-
man.
that's-
That's got my testosterone screaming.
Well,
Right now.
I've got a quad box set up on my TV right now of all college basketball games. I believe I could be wrong. I believe I just saw that North Carolina State is beating Florida State 33-9. So FSU's not good though. NC State's pretty decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it for this episode of 5 Out. No need to drag it on any longer. Check the links in the description for all our socials. Go to 5outpod.com. Read Austin's latest article about the NFL Coach of the Year race. And like this video and subscribe to us on YouTube. Yeah. Anything else, Austin? For
No,
wrap it?
I got
Okay.
nothing else. Go Bears.
Yeah, bear down. Big time playoff game today. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you same time next week.